Hello students and welcome to the lecture of Microbiology Paper 1, that is Introduction to Microbial World. Chapter 1, Development of Microbiology as a Discipline, and the topic for today's lecture is John Tyndall's experiments. So before we start with the Tyndall's experiment, just a little recap of what we have studied before. In 346 BC, Aristotle proposed the theory of abiogenesis. In those days, people accepted the theory of abiogenesis, that is, life appears from non-living or inanimate objects. Later on, in the 17th century, scientists did not believe that life originates from the inanimate objects, and therefore they started performing experiments to prove that life originates from other form of life. Experiments were first performed by Francisco Redi, the famous 3-jar experiment to disprove the theory of abiogenesis. But the proponents of the theory of abiogenesis were so strong that they did not believe in the experiments performed by Francisco Redi. Later, the French Academy of Science declared a competition to prove the theory of biogenesis and put an end to the controversy. So, Louis Pasteur entered the competition to prove the theory of biogenesis, that is, life originates from another life. He performed the famous swan neck experiment, which put an end to the debate on biogenesis versus abiogenesis. Pasteur's findings were later supported by the work of John Tyndall, which was the final blow to the spontaneous generation theory. During his work on the scattering of light by atmospheric dust, Tyndall observed that a beam of light passing through the air was visible because of the suspended dust particles which scatter the light. This phenomenon of scattering of light was termed as the Tyndall's effect. Tyndall was aware of Pasteur's findings of the presence of microorganisms on the dust particles. So, to disprove the theory of spontaneous generation, Tyndall devised an experiment, the famous box experiment of Tyndall, in which the box contained tubes filled with previously boiled and heated broth to make the broth free from microorganisms. The main aim of the experiment was to demonstrate that the dust carried the microorganisms, which led to the growth of microorganisms in the liquid broth. So, Tyndall started performing experiments to prove the theory of biogenesis. But in 1876, when Tyndall was performing his experiments using the hay broth, hundreds of experiments were performed in which many of the experiments failed to give proper results. The main difference between Tyndall's experiments and experiments performed by Louis Pasteur and Redi was that Tyndall was using hay to make the broth, while Louis Pasteur and Francisco Redi used meat or meat broth to prove the theory of biogenesis. So Tyndall tried to find out the reason for the failure of some of his experiments. When he came across Henri Bastien's discovery, where in 1870 Bastien had discovered that there are some bacteria that survived boiling even after 10 minutes in a closed flask. Later, Ferdinand Kohn theorized or postulated that there might be a special developmental stage or a germ that survived the boiling. The bacteria that appeared in the cheese infusions after boiling were not the same as found previously by Louis Pasteur as the putrefacious bacteria. But the bacteria that were found were bacillus rods or threads, which were called as Bacillus subtilis by Ferdinand Kohn. After a short time, many of the bacteria swelled at one end and became filled with oval, strongly refractive bodies within the cell. These bodies that were formed were a stage in the life cycle of the bacilli and suggested that they were the real spores from which new bacilli may develop. Since it was known that spores survived at high temperatures, Kohn concluded that these must be the spores that survived the boiling and germinated to form the bacteria. Kohn proved that the thermoresistant endospores in Bacillus subtilis were capable of surviving strong heat and germinating to form new bacilli, and that there was no spontaneous generation process involved. He also showed that the presence of air was necessary for the formation of these spores. Ferdinand Kohn discovered that the heat-resistant bacteria were the bacteria that were capable of producing the endospores. Kohn also helped in establishment of a new classification system for bacteria based on their morphology and the physiology. He also developed liquid media for culturing the microorganisms. He also developed methods for sterilizing and maintaining the sterility of the media. These techniques were used and applied to understanding the role of microorganisms in the diseases. Ferdinand Kohn's contribution to bacteriology was published in 1876. He proved that thermoresistant endospores in Bacillus subtilis were capable of surviving strong heat and germinating to form the new bacilli. There was no spontaneous generation involved in the process. He also showed that the presence of air was necessary for the formation of these endospores. Kohn also showed that there are different genera of bacteria and each genera had a different developmental status or had a different course of development. Each of the genera also showed different biological properties as well as the fermentative activities. Kohn also showed that the spores that had already been formed in heating of the hay infusions at temperatures less than 100 degrees Celsius survived and retained the ability to develop even after heating the broth for a few days. At the same time, when Ferdinand Kohn was working on spores, Robert Koch was working on Bacillus anthracis, where he found out that Bacillus anthracis was responsible for the anthrax disease in the cattle. So Robert Koch met Ferdinand Kohn and Ferdinand Kohn explained his findings to Robert Koch and supported his paper on the Bacillus anthracis organism. Ferdinand Kohn met Tyndall, who told him about his discoveries of spores in the hay bacilli, and also Robert Koch's discovery of spores from forming Bacillus anthracis. Tyndall understood that the hay that was present in his laboratory may be contaminated by the endospore forming bacteria due to which his experiments failed. In 1877, Tyndall demonstrated that dust did carry the germs, and that if dust was absent, the broth remained sterile even after it was directly exposed to the air. During the course of his studies, Tyndall provided the evidence for the existence of exceptionally high heat resistant forms of bacteria. After a few months of research, Tyndall suggested that a series of successive heating and cooling steps would completely prevent the growth of microbes. By this procedure, spores would germinate and then get killed by the next heating cycle when they were in their heat sensitive forms, that is, the vegetative cells. Thus, it led to the discovery of fractional sterilization, which is also referred to as the process of Tyndallization. This technique is still in practice for sterilization of growth media that do not tolerate high temperatures and pressures in an autoclave. So Tyndall continued with his experiments to prove the theory of biogenesis. Tyndall's box was a chamber made of wood with a front glass door and two windows of glass on the opposite side. He used the bent glass tubes, which were similar to the glass tubes or the swan neck flask of Louis Pasteur. Air was allowed to enter into the box through the bent tubes. Because air passed through the bent tubes, air that was free from the dust particles entered inside the box. The inner surface of the box was coated with glycerine in order to trap the microorganisms that are present in the dust. The chamber was sealed and allowed to stand for a few days so that the dust particles they settle down. The chamber was observed every day by shining light through the glass windows on the side to see whether the beam of light was visible. The beam of light was visible only till the dust particles were suspended in the air, after which, when all the dust particles settled down, the beam of light was not visible. When all the dust particles settled, sterile medium was added in the tubes via a stoppered pipette in order to maintain the sterility of the medium. This is the box that Tyndall used for his experiments. The front was a glass door. On the sides it had glass windows through which light could be light shined and a beam of light was visible. The inner surface of the box was coated with glycerine and the box was observed every day to see the optically empty beam of light. After the optical empty beam of light was seen, through the stoppered pipette, medium, that is sterile broth, was placed into the tubes in order to maintain the sterility of the medium. After keeping the box for a few days with the sterile tubes and allowing air to pass through the bent tubes, the broth did not show any growth of microorganisms. So after performing hundreds of experiments with different broths which were sterilized by fractional sterilization, also called as Tyndallization, Tyndall found out that there was no growth after incubation of the broth for a number of days. So this clearly stated that if dust was not allowed to enter the broth remained sterile. And this was the final blow to the theory of abiogenesis, proving that the theory of biogenesis is the theory for the origin of life, and that life can exist only if there is previous life. Thank you.